All right, guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the review for the 6th upgrade of the season. It was a banger, a lot of interesting stuff, some question marks for sure. We're going to get into all of it right now. Let's start by going position by position. As always, we start with starting pitchers. And we see Shane Bieber does in fact go to the 90 plus that we've been talking about for a little bit. He didn't hit that big price spike. Now, there were a couple guys that we were waiting on to go 90 plus, hoping that they would hit a price spike and we could kind of use that as an investment opportunity, including Juan Soto, who you might have seen on the very first page there. He also went up. However, it's been counterbalanced by a big 50% pack sale that I think is going to hinder these prices a little bit. That said, for Soto, if you bought him in the 5,000 to 5,200 range, there is a profit to be had already. You can just take your profit and get out. If you want to wait, though, I think he'll slowly trickle up. It's not like the bets. Bets hit 40K the day of and slowly went down, but you could have hit big there. Judge was up in the 30, 35, 40K range before his upgrade on the anticipation of it. That was a weird one. But with Bieber and Soto, we're seeing something a little bit different. I would just hold. Right now, I'm holding my Biebers because he's down at like 7,200. And it's still a profit, but I want to see if he goes more. And with Soto, I don't know, I might play it half and half. I might sell a few and then kind of see if he trickles up over 10K. But just wait it out. The pack sale ends on September 9th, so I think that it's going to give you a better read on everything as far as that goes. So if you have the bankroll to have some patience, just put those. Just don't even think about those and let some time elapse. Cole had to come down, and as you can see, it's a big drop in his home run rate. He has as many home runs as walks. That's been kind of the weird thing about him. By no means is he having a bad season, but he does have a 3.91 ERA, which is probably a full run higher than a lot of people expected. It's probably two runs higher than Yankee fans expected. But it's the home runs that have been getting him. He's still pitching well, but he had to go down to a 90, from a 91 to an 89. If you were waiting on him to do your Mantle collection, now is a great time. His price is tanking. When you combine this drop with the pack sale, excellent time to get him. Absolutely excellent time to get him. Aaron Nola goes up +1. He continues to just pitch remarkably well. I don't know if he's going to get to the 90 plus range by the end of the season, but he does continue to pitch very well. Same with Clayton Kershaw. His big card did come out today as part of the program. It looks awesome, and his live series deserved an upgrade. He's been pitching so well this year. You see a 1.96 ERA and a .78 whip. I love everything that he's doing. There it is, y'all. Kenta Maeda hits the jump. He just every time out pitches so well, and you know what? We got the stamina boost. In fact, it looks like SDS gave some big love to some stamina across the board. You're going to hear me talking about that a lot. I don't know how much of a hand I had in it. I sent over a list of some guys that I thought deserved it. They're always open to at least listening. I don't pretend that I have any pull or anything like that, but I'm happy to have at least put it on their radar that some of these guys needed a boost, because stamina is not one of those ratings that they pay attention to week in and week out. Because, I mean, you know, just because a guy has like an 8-inning outing doesn't mean his stamina automatically goes up 10 points, and then the next week he has a 5-inning outing, so it goes down. You know, you're not going to be yo-yoing it back and forth. With Kenta Maeda, though, he was always kind of a 5-and-dive sort of guy, because the Dodgers, if you're not familiar with his contract, you should go read up on it, because it's this real incentive-laden contract based on his innings. And so I think they really managed his innings, and that's why he would always go into the bullpen at the end of the year. Everyone says, oh, it's because he wore down this and that. Horse shit. Don't buy into that hype. Occam's razor. The most obvious answer is the correct one. They were keeping those costs down because they had the depth to do it. And hey, credit to them for having the ability to do it, because it never really hurt them to do it. Minnesota is not going to take the pedal off with Maeda. By the way, things like innings and games and contract clauses like that did get scaled for this season. So obviously he's not going to make 150 innings or whatever the first bonus is in your normal 6-month season, but they were scaled down to the 2-month season. Darvish gets a little bit of stamina love there, -1 on the BB9, which is kind of surprising because I kind of think his BB9 should still be going upward, but no complaints there. Jack Flaherty, little neutral action there. Oof, Sonny Gray, one of the worst starts of the year. Just 2/3, and it was like 6 runs or something. Absolutely brutalized. I have him on my main event team. It was tough. It was tough. Thankfully, we had 4 other starters going that night, all of whom pitched well, and we kind of absorbed the start. But usually when you get 4 good starts on a night when you have 5 guys going, you will expect to go up as opposed to just having them kind of sponge up the shitty outing from somebody. So with the ups and downs that we're seeing, I respect that they had to move Sonny Gray down because of that one bad outing, because it was that bad. Max Fried goes up 2 points. He is officially on Diamond Watch, folks. You see here, he also got one of the stamina boosts. When he was coming up, he was a 4-5, sometimes 6-inning guy. He's been more regularly and consistently in the 5-6 inning range. I think he has 1 7-inning start as well, but he deserved the boost and he got it. He is on Diamond Watch. Castillo, I think he's off Diamond Watch at this point. He could rally. What do you get? About 4, maybe 5 starts left in the season if they were all excellent, maybe. But I would not be investing in him at this point. I would be investing in this gentleman. Zach Gallen is on Diamond Watch as well. He's been absolutely killing it. Start in, start out. He knows the life of Jacob deGrom though. He's 1-0 this year despite pitching brilliantly. He should probably call deGrom up and be like, this does suck, doesn't it? When your offense gives you nothing despite pitching so well. He threw 7 scoreless yesterday against the Dodgers. And hey, in fairness to the Diamondbacks, they had to face Walker Buehler, who's no slouch, but they only got 1 run. The bullpen ended up blowing it. So he gets a no decision despite throwing 7 brilliant innings against arguably the best team in baseball. But he continues to pitch well night in, night out. Well, not night in, night out. Every 5th day, I should say. Paddock gets a little neutral love there. Not really Diamond Watch for me. Brandon Woodruff needed a little boost there. He was kind of their workhorse last year until he came back from that oblique. They started to protect him a little bit more. So I think his innings were held down. But when you really looked at him as a healthy pitcher, he is trusted to go 6+ regularly. Tyler Glasnow gets the boost. I missed this one. I think because, and I'm gonna have to make an adjustment here. This is a learning experience for me. I see the 4.24 ERA, and I always tell you guys, an ERA is not on the card, so it does not decide an upgrade. But I sometimes play a little bit more cautiously when somebody is having a bad, batting average or OPS or ERA. I wonder, are they going to go to the gold or the diamond level? Well, if the skills are there, then they got to go. And SDS saw the 15.1 K per 9 and said, he's got to go. And so they moved him up. They even got him 3 points to an 81. So pardon me for missing that one. Hopefully you were invested on him. We had talked about him before. It wasn't a total miss, like he was fully off my radar, but I did not have him on the investment sheet for this particular week. Patrick Corbin goes down. He's been just kind of meh this year. Washington's having a terrible year. Carlos Carrasco, he's been pitching all right, but as you can see, his BB9 goes down to a perfect 69, and his homer 9 had to go down as well. Tony Gonsolin just gets the SP to RP move. This is what I was talking about with Seth Lugo, and I guarantee you this is why they have not moved Seth Lugo into SP, because he's in the rotation, y'all. He's starting, and there's a little bit of a debate on this. We were talking about it in chat yesterday. One of the chat viewers, Dolly Bama, was saying, hey man, if a player's playing a position, put him in that position. If it happens to move them to a higher level, then so be it. And I understand that. But I do think that the market considerations of having somebody move silver to gold or gold to diamond in particular, because bronze to silver, that's pretty innocuous. But those other two, those kind of move the market a bit. Now, I'm not saying that it's like market manipulation so much in a nefarious way. I think they want moves into gold and diamond to be merit-based, though. And I'm keying in on that for 2 specific guys. Seth Lugo, because if he went RP to SP, he would definitely go diamond. But he's pitching well enough to be a diamond. And this isn't just this year. He's been pitching brilliantly now for 3 years. So I think he should get it just on his own merit. But then the position change will boost him even higher. But then Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is the other one. He's currently listed at shortstop. He's the left fielder. And there's a bigger ask. Like your stats have to be higher at shortstop to be gold because of the defense at that position. His defense is pretty bad. But if he moves out to left field, the burden is smaller, and I think he would get that 1 point and move to gold. But I don't think they've moved him there because his numbers aren't quite gold. That said, Gurriel has been hitting a lot better lately, and I do think he's on a very heavy gold watch. So I wonder what you guys think. Put it in the comments if you have any opinions on that. Should they just move a guy to a new position regardless of what it's going to do to their level change? And that would work maybe the other way sometimes too. Maybe a guy would go from diamond to gold if, say, they moved the other way from left field to shortstop. I don't know why that would necessarily happen. I mean, that's not really a move that we would see. But let's just say hypothetically, would you want it to work both ways? Or do you think that when they're going to gold or diamond, it should be more merit-based, and then they can do the position change once their stats kind of merit the change? At any rate, as you can see here, Gazelleman only got the stamina boost. You usually get 3 to 4 points going RP to SP. Add in 10 points of stamina, it's a 5-point boost for Gazelleman, and he deserves it. Pablo Lopez is on a heavy gold watch at this point. He's been pitching very well this year. If he gets a couple starts in a row where he allows just a couple hits, say 5-6 innings, and he only allows 2-3 hits in each of them, he's going to get gold. Because as you can see, 65 hits per 9, there's a lot of growth potential there. Oh, by the way, I will say Gazelleman is very much on gold watch. With Ross Stripling being traded out, Gazelleman has an opportunity now. And as you can see from these numbers, he's been pitching brilliantly. I should have mentioned that. Zach Davies has had a great season. As you can see, his strikeout rate is not very high. He's not a big strikeout guy, but he does everything else very well. And he's been great for the Padres. I'm torn on the gold. As you can see, I hesitated there because I don't know. It's really going to take some hit suppression, which, I mean, he's already doing great. 28 hits and 41 in the third innings is really good. And he really limits walks. I don't know. I wouldn't invest. Here's why I wouldn't invest. Could he get to gold? Yes, he absolutely could. The reason I wouldn't invest, though, is because when you don't strike out a lot of guys, your volatility meter, if you just want to make something up called volatility meter, is higher. Because what that means is you're putting the ball in play more often. You're not striking out as many guys, so there's more contact. That means stuff can go against you even when you're pitching well. It's called getting BABIP'd. When hits are just kind of going through perfectly. You know, it's not that hard hit of a ball, but it goes right in between the shortstop and third baseman for a base hit, or right up the middle, or a little dinker floats over the second baseman. He reaches out. We see it in MLB The Show, too. Same thing happens here, but it happens in real life a lot, too. The volatility meter is just higher with somebody like Davies, and it only takes one outing to completely derail him from gold at this point, especially with only 4 or 5 starts left. So I would not invest heavily in Zach Davies for gold. If you really want to, then do it at a 25% rate. And what I mean by that is, say you're aggressive on somebody, say Luis Robert, who a lot of people were in on. That's 100% investment. Everyone was thinking that he was going to go gold at some point this year. So whatever amount of shares that you got for that, say you got 100, make it easy. If you're going to do 25% of somebody, then just get 25 shares. Maybe you only do 20 shares, and that's a big investment for you. Well, then you get 4 or 5 shares for somebody like Zach Davies. Scale it down because I don't want to put a lot of risk in Zach Davies. Andrew Heaney's been pitching all right, but I don't really see gold here. He has been limiting the homers, but he's not been limiting the hits all that well. He could get there. It's not out of the question, but I'm not investing in him. I am investing in Urias, but more on a 30-40% track. He's not a full-scale diving in head first. He is pitching pretty well, but as you can see, 32 hits in 33 innings, that's a little bit high. A hit per inning is not very good. He did get a little stamina boost, which he deserved, but he's still about a 5-inning guy. The hits, the strikeout rate is what I think could go up. If he could have a couple big strikeout games, that's where we could see some gains. So I do like him as an investment, just not a full-scale one. Marco Gonzalez is very much a Zach Davies case, where I really like him. He could get to gold, but there's a lot of volatility potential there, and it only takes one awful start to kind of derail things. John Gray got downgraded. He's been pitching terribly. It's been weird because they've actually had some good pitching in Colorado, but Marquez and Gray haven't been the ones. It's been... Well, Castellini actually got bombed out his last time, but like Antonio Senzatella and Kyle Freeland have been doing it the best lately, and I think that's kind of surprising. And I'm really eager to kind of see if they kind of hold, or if Gray and Gray and Marquez can get back on track. Marquez is a guy who I would give anything for him to be traded out of Colorado, because I think he could be one of the best pitchers in baseball, honestly. But Colorado is that devastating of a park that it makes him, I don't want to say mediocre because that takes it too far, but it makes him a lot worse than he should be, because that park is undefeated. You can't defeat that park for more than a couple starts at a time. Ryan Yarbrough gets a little bit of a downgrade. He does get some stamina, but he loses some homers. Or no, he doesn't get a downgrade. He gets a neutral move. Adam Wainwright, credit to Adam Wainwright. I believe he's 39 years old, and he's out there doing it, man. There have been multiple times in the last few years where he looked cooked. Like, hey, either go in the bullpen or maybe hang it up. And this is why us dorks sitting on the sideline are in no position to tell guys when to hang it up. They'll decide, or the team will decide for them. But he just keeps grinding it out. One of the hardest working players in the entire sport. I always respect Adam Wainwright and what he does out there. He's making it work here at age 39. By the way, I'm really excited for his diamond cards whenever they come out. There should be a big reliever and a big starting card. One prime, one sig, whatever, however they want to do it. But I'm excited for those to come out. Dakota Hudson gets a nice boost. His strikeouts have jumped up this year. That was a big thing last year where he didn't get a lot. So you see he get a little boost there. If he continues to strike guys out, then that 58 can go up. I don't see gold though, so you don't really need to invest in him. Hopefully you invested in this in him when he was a 68, because this would be a good this would be a good affinity exchange, because he got 7 points here and he was super cheap. Corbin Burns got a nice upgrade. I really do like him. I think time might just run out on him before going to gold. There is some gold potential even with 5 points needed. I would put him at like a 30 to 40%, same as Julio Urias. He goes back to SP, but he's done for the year. He wasn't pitching well anyway, so don't worry about Jose Quintana. Get well soon. Zach Eflin does get a healthy boost here. He's been pitching pretty well for the Phillies. We'll see. No real potential here. No real gold potential here, I should say. Talking's hard. Framber Valdez, we finally got this. We were waiting on this one. It was a big shock last week when he didn't get any sort of movement. So I doubled, tripled down. Like I invested a ton more in him for affinity. And I got to be honest, the way he's been pitching, I might hold for gold. Like, that's how well he's been going right now. And you see that big 29-point boost in the BB9. He's not walking guys, and that was something coming up that was always a bit of an issue for him, is that he was kind of wild. He's been pitching so well, and I feel like he's not getting enough attention. He finally got a big boost here, and he deserved it. This one pains me, y'all. My boy Montas. There's just no way I can be convinced that his back isn't behind all of this. He had to get his start skipped because of the back, and then his next 3 starts since then have been horrific. And you don't just go from pitching brilliantly to terribly, happen to have a back injury in between, and the back isn't the cause. Like, I just can't believe that. Now, what I don't understand is why they didn't give an IL stint. It must be one of those things where he's telling the team, I'm good enough, I can go, and they're trusting their guy, but he doesn't have it right now. And unfortunately, you should divest. No hold for gold anymore. It's done for this year. Brad Keller's been pitching remarkably well. I think this is kind of his peak. He might get another point or two, but silver is his peak. J-Hap gets a little love. So does Johnny Cueto. Sixto gets a nice boost. Now, he's definitely a save for silver with some hold for gold potential. I'm definitely still investing in him. As a 73, he should not be expensive. At the very worst, I think he goes to like 77, 78, and that makes him a nice affinity exchange for when stage 4 comes out, or if you're still working on one of the previous 3 stages. Senzatella, as I was talking about, pitching remarkably well. Doesn't strike a lot of guys out though, so this is scary. I would not invest in him, not even for silver. Could he get there? Sure, but I would not even risk it. Because when you're putting the ball in play that much and you pitch half your games in Colorado, you are begging for trouble. You're just daring the baseball gods. Like, look what I can do. Look, Mom, no hands. Yeah, that ERA is going to go up if he keeps doing this. Pardon me. Tyler Mahle goes up just by moving over back to SP. I don't know why he doesn't get any love for the stats that he had, though. And this, listen, I know I'm a broken record on this, but I'm going to say it again. Maybe this is the first time you're watching a roster review. What I don't get about this is that they had enough forethought and consideration to go into the card and change the position, but they didn't give any thought to looking at the stats. I don't get it. Rory, help me out. What are you doing over there with this one? Tyler Mahle needs to be silver, and I do think there's some gold potential here. I would put him at like a 40-50% investment for gold. I'd put him at 100% for silver. If you're happy with him going 75, 76, 77, then do your full-scale investment. But if you want to go for gold, maybe just put him at 40-50% of what you would normally do as far as if you're going to hold for gold. Because there is potential, but I think he's going to be silver. When he goes silver, I'll probably go ahead and either exchange mine or sell them with some sell orders. Tehran just moved back. Dane Dunning, man, he's been awesome. He only has 2 starts, but both of them have been very impressive. 14 strikeouts and just 5 hits allowed. He got that Future Stars card, which I actually, I don't think I've used it. Maybe like a couple innings in BR, but he's an interesting prospect. He's a former #1 overall pick. When he got traded in part of the Giolito Adam Eaton deal, those are kind of the 2 principal guys with Reynaldo Lopez and Dane Dunning coming along. Dunning was the afterthought because he was recovering from TJ. So everyone was like, oh yeah, it's Reynaldo Lopez, Lucas Giolito, and Dane Dunning. And he was kind of thrown off to the side. No, man. #1 pick. Real talent here. A lot of upside. I think he could end up being better than Reynaldo Lopez. And this comes from somebody who's been into Reynaldo Lopez for years. I'm moving off that train, by the way. I think it's time to put him in the bullpen and move on from starting. It's just not working. Kwang Young Kim pitching very well as a starter. I think he deserves even more love here. The strikeouts are the tough part, though. He doesn't strike anybody out. Yes, there is the volatility meter because he's going to put a lot of balls in play, but he isn't allowing a lot of hits. He's tough to square up. I do think there's a save for silver aspect here for sure. Jorge Alcala not only gets to move over to SP, but also gets the big boost up. Wait, is he starting, though? I thought he was still relieving for Minnesota. I don't know. Either way, he does get the nice, healthy 13-point boost here. He's pitching remarkably well. Pannone moves over. Patino move. These position moves, they don't really matter. Arrieta goes down. Scout blew it. Doesn't get a downgrade, or else I could make the easy, stupid punt about blowing it. But no, we're stuck not being able to do that. Justin Dunn gets some love, but only up to a 64. He just misses that bronze tier. I do think there's bronze potential here. And again, when you're investing here, you're trying to get these commons at like 15 stubs a piece. You get a shit ton of them, and then they go into bronze. Maybe gets into the like 67 to 69 range, which would be nice, and then you can affinity exchange them. That's all you're going for here. You're not trying to get rich off of commons going to bronze. Jose Mujica and Nick Mark. Oh, if I said Dunning #1 overall, that was a mistake. I meant first round. I only meant first round. My apologies. What's Nick Markovicius got to do, man? You went into his card. You moved him to SP. He can't get any love on this. Yo, at least the Tyler Mahle. At least he's a quality 73 bronze. Like, that's a solid little card that kind of reflects his value. Markovicius is stuck on his previous performances, which weren't very good. Now, he's pitching well, and he gets no love. No love. Outrage. Unbelievable. Chad Green, I think, kind of screwed over his diamond potential with a couple of bad outings recently. Now, he only went neutral here. So this is not so bad. I think he had given up runs in 3 straight. So I was pretty worried about him, and I was telling people to divest. I might get back in a little bit and just kind of sit tight with him. I don't think I'm gonna super invest. I'm gonna put Chad Green at like a 25% investment right now. There is still diamond potential. He avoided getting crushed for those bad outings that he had. Pagan moves back out of the CP role with Drew Pomeranz coming back off the IL, and never mind. Trevor Rosenthal is RP. Our boy Amir Garrett gets some love, much deserved. He was in the Players League. He streams. Great guy. A lot of fun. Gets a lot of love here. Becomes a BR. Becomes a big BR piece because you don't have to worry about that Homer 9. Homer 9 doesn't do anything in Diamond Dynasty this year. Remember, it was in Diamond Dynasty for a couple months last year. It turns out it was too OP, so they took it back out. So you really only need to worry about hits, Ks, and walks. The control's a little tough, but everything else is nails, and you need lefties in BR. So Garrett's definitely going to be on the squad. T-Rose definitely moves back to RP because he's not going to be closing full-time in San Diego. I do think he's still going to get opportunities, but they put Drew Pomeranz in the CP role, and I get it. That's not a big deal. CP to RP doesn't do anything, so it's just it's just for record keeping. It's not a big deal one way or the other. Matt Strom loses some of his stamina. I was taking him as a BR reliever with the stamina, but I'll trade the 13 points of stamina for these gains, especially the 86 BB9. That is going to be very useful, and I think he's going to become a much better BR pick that you're going to see a lot more now. Caleb Ferguson loses some of his stamina, but gets some upgrades in hits and Ks. I like it. I'm cool with it. Matt Whistler just moves from SP to RP, which hurts him. He loses a few points from that, but gains one of them back with the hit and K9 upgrades. Lucas Sims has been pitching well. That bullpen in Cincinnati is starting to settle a little bit. At the beginning of the year, they were a nightmare. Now a few of the guys are really starting to get into their own. I think if the season was going to go 6 months, I think we'd see Cincinnati fully turn it around. As it stands now, the season might just end before they can get to where they need to be or to where their talent should take them, because they just started off so poorly and they just can't seem to get on that full run. But over the course of the 6 months, I think their talent would have risen to the top. We'll see where they wind up this year, though. They could still make the playoffs. Archie Bradley moves over to Cincinnati, speaking of their bullpen, to strengthen it. Finally, I have 70 shares of Devin Williams at like 8 to 25 stubs, somewhat like in that range. Sometimes he was single digits, sometimes he was 25, sometimes he was even up in the 50s. I might have bought some in 50, but I never spent more than like 50 stubs to get him, because I just was, every week that he wasn't getting upgraded, give me more. And the thing of it is, I think he's saved for silver. I really do. He's awesome. And I nailed it. I had him at going to a 72. Sometimes with these big ones, I just like to check. I know back padding. Okay, don't be an arrogant twat, Paul. But sometimes they're hard to kind of figure, like, how high are they going to go on these guys who need like a full scale upgrade? And I hit it exact, 53 to 72. Let's go. Jimenez, garbage. I don't know why he didn't get a downgrade, to be honest, to like a 4. Do they do a 4 overall rating? And they just have like a, the shield should be the circle with the red line, the red circle with the line. That should be their shield. It should just say 4, because that's what he deserves. Garbage. Terrible. Don't ever let him pitch again. Chris Batt. Oh no. Oh, Scuffy, the Silver Bandits. They lose a big one through no fault of their own. This is a surprise here, though, because I don't know. Has it been announced that he's going to lose his starting job? Because I thought when they got Mike Minor that they might go 6-man. But it looks like SDS is saying, you know what, Bassett's the odd man out. That's a bummer. I will say this, though. BR God. Fixing to be a BR God right here with 73 stamina. Are you kidding me? Because as a 76, I think he was a viable BR pickup to pitch with as a starter. So now going down to a 70 with no change to his skills, sign me up. I'm putting him in my bullpen every time I get him. Same with Strip. He goes down just by moving from SP to RP. Although I'm not sure that he's not going to start in Toronto. They did get him and Ray. Again, I think 6-man. I think they're both going to get a start this week because of a doubleheader, and that might be the audition. And whoever does better between Ray and Stripling will get the gig. I don't know for sure, though. Another one. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, this is even better than Bassett because he's a lefty. Speaking of reliever Alex Wood, can we get the gold? Can we get the gold back, please? I love that card. That was my most used pitcher last year. I absolutely loved him. Gazelleman. Now, I thought Gazelleman was starting along with Lugo. I thought both were starting. So I'm surprised by this. This is just a move out of CP. This is a bummer because he got hurt, Jordan Romano did, and that means he might not be able to get any more upgrades this year. Although I will say, based on the 14 2/3 that he's pitched, I think he deserves one more little tweak into the mid-70s. Maybe not 75. Maybe don't put him at silver, but 73, 74. I don't know if he'll be back before the season ends. But if they make the playoffs and he comes back for the playoffs, they do upgrade guys who perform in the playoffs. And I could see Jordan Romano being a beast in October. Nick Birdie. How's Nick Birdie on the upgrade list every week? He hasn't pitched in like a month because he has a season-ending injury, and yet I swear he shows up on the list every week like doing a position change. I think he was listed at catcher last week. I don't understand. Taylor Williams loses his closing job by coming over to the Padres. I think they sent him to the alternate site too. Listen, nobody's doing backflips for a 5.93 ERA and a 1.32 WHIP, but how tough is that? You're closing for the Mariners. You get traded to San Diego, so you say, okay, cool, I'm in the thick of a pennant race, and then they say, get to step in. You're going to the alternate site. Tough scene, man. Jacob Junis. Now, this is a high stamina reliever, but not a BR pick because those per nines there are too crappy. Ponce de Leon goes into the bullpen as well. Zimmer gets a healthy upgrade. This is a guy I continue to root for. Kyle Zimmer, if you're unfamiliar, was a first round pick for KC probably, I don't know, 10 years ago now. It was a while ago, man. How come his face looks like a Guy Fawkes mask? But injuries have absolutely ravaged him. In fact, Bradley Zimmer is his brother, and injuries have also ravaged him. So I feel bad for them, man. They get two guys in the major leagues, and neither of them has really, fulfilled their promise, and they both had a lot of promise because of injuries. Injuries suck. But here we are. We're seeing Kyle Zimmer work his way back, 15 innings of high-quality work. And I think we've got something here that I'm really excited to see how long he can maintain it. And I hope he can just stay healthy. The performance aside, if he can just stay healthy, that will be worth it. But he is pitching remarkably well, so good on him. Adrian Morion goes into the bullpen. It is a lefty. It is high stamina for a common. I mean, you're not using your commons in BR anyway. I mean, hopefully not. Maybe in an extra inning game, but we don't need to get into draft him for BR. Who cares? These are a bunch of commons. Let me see if there's any that I really care about. I don't think so. The only common that I was really keen on was Devin Williams, and we saw the upgrade he got. So yeah, we can speed through these. Cole Sulser, damn, he lost his job too, and his ratings suck shit. All right, moving on to CP. We've got Pomeranz moving back into the closer's role. Stallman going into the closer's role for KC. I think there's a fringe hold for gold here. The tough part is that BB9 is really bad. 11 walks and 15 2/3, and he might not be able to overcome that. But look at how many strikeouts he has. He has almost 2 strikeouts an inning, y'all. He needs to get a higher than 90 mark. So I think at the very worst, he should be going up into the 77, 78 range next week, really. I mean, he just pitches well every week. And then there's a gold potential by season's end. So I have some Stomans invested. I'm going to hang on to those. Bass goes back into the closer's role with Romano's injury. Jesse Biddle is the what? Why is he CP for Raisel Iglesias? Whatever. I don't know. Who cares? Richard Rodriguez. These are all position changes. Nothing crazy. Oh, Soto, let's go. Yo. Hey, can we get Soto's break fixed? Hello? He does not have a 46 break. If you've watched him pitch, you know damn well that it's better than 46. I'm going to need to send a note. Remind me to send a note. All right, let's get into some catchers here. Austin Nola. This has been one of my favorite stories of the year. This was a guy that I was pretty hot on for fantasy because he was going to be the backup catcher to Tom Murphy, but he was going to play in a bunch of different spots. And so in fantasy baseball, if you can have somebody who qualifies at catcher but doesn't actually have to play catcher, that is excellent. So I was drafting him everywhere. Well, it turns out Tom Murphy got hurt, so he did have to play catcher, but it hasn't slowed him down. He's continued to hit brilliantly, and credit to the Mariners. Nola's 30 years old. He's not going to be on their next great team. So sell high on somebody who's playing out of his mind this year. I thought that was a great move for them. I like the pickup for San Diego too. No shade to them. I just think it was a really strong move for Seattle to go ahead and sell high on him. By the way, if you're wondering why you would want a qualifying catcher who doesn't actually catch, two reasons. One, they don't have to have the guaranteed off days as much. When you catch, you have to take days off, or else you're just going to wear down and it's going to affect your numbers anyway. But two, the beating that you take back there, the foul tips, the getting hit with the backswing of a bat, all that sort of stuff, it really takes its toll and opens you up to more injury. So that's why if you can get somebody like Nola or Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who hasn't caught this year and he's been qualified, it is a boon. Remember a few years ago, Evan Gattis was a non-catching catcher, and he hit like 25 homers, and he was an absolute monster. As a fantasy catcher, it was great. Anyway, I love Nola, and I am holding for gold. James McCann, dude, if you were in my streams last year, you know how much I like James McCann and how much of a sneak tip badass card he was. I implore you all, whether it's an event that makes silvers viable or battle royale, give McCann some run. The dude smacks the ball. In fact, I hadn't used him a whole lot this year until recently. Like this week, I've been playing a lot more BR. And in a big VR run that I had yesterday, unfortunately, I went 8-2. Lame. I did that twice yesterday. I went 8-2 two different times yesterday. But I had James McCann in one of them. He's back to killing it again. So I fully recommend him. He gets another upgrade here. Don't worry about the fact that he's kind of a platoon guy. He crushes righties too. And the best part is he's up on inside edge very often. Yan Gomes goes to silver. I don't really see gold potential here. He's having a good season, but not like a over-the-top season. Do we think Roberto Perez this season was a fluke last year? Holy hell, look at the come down from him. My God, he's been brutal. All right. We're very excited. We're very excited in this household. Oh, let me fix that. Much deserved. I'll admit, I was wearing this shirt in anticipation / hope / overwhelming desire that he would get a Topps Now diamond. But I'll take Live Series diamond. I have my diamond Voit. That's what I wanted. Now, if he had a Topps Now card, he'd be like a 97, and that'd be much more viable. But I'll take this. And yes, I will draft him in BR as an 85. I don't care if there's 3 other 89s. I don't care. I love Luke Voit that much. He's that good. Also, Player of the Month comes out next week. I do expect Luke Voit to get a Player of the Month card. Not the main one. The Lightning is going to go to Tatis. I firmly believe that. As does the overwhelming majority of the community. But I do think that Luke Voigt's going to get a secondary one so that they can get a mid-90s Voit out there. And I will have that card, and he will be starting over Frank Thomas. Sorry, Big Hurt, but you're not Luke Voit. I don't have a Frank Thomas shirt. Pete Alonso goes back down again. Those of you who are hoping that he would spike back to diamond, it ain't happening. If you had any shares, you should divest because it's not happening. Same with Rizzo. It's not happening. Look, we know I'm not an Eric Hosmer fan. We don't have to belabor the point. Credit where it's due, though. He's having a great season. Coming into the year, there were talks about him making changes to his swing. He finally realized that hitting the ball in the air was a good thing to do. Like, what the fuck took you so long? Anyway, it's working. And he's doing a great job with it. So again, just because I'm not a big fan of him as a dude, credit where it's due. Fantastic season. Well done. Deserved gold. Dom Smith, one of my favorite hold for golds right now. I was a big fan of Dom Smith coming into the year just in general, but then to see the outpouring of emotion and just how could you not feel for him in that press conference when everything was going on with the Milwaukee-based protests and the way he was talking about life as a black man in America? And if that didn't make you feel for him, then you might not have feelings. But anyway, that just added to my like of Dom Smith, and I'm rooting for him. So he's having a great year. He had a great year last year in a part-time role. This year, some playing time has opened up, and he has continued. Remember, he was a big-time prospect. Let me back up a second. One thing that we do wrong as a fantasy community and as a baseball-watching community, we've been spoiled by the Tatises of the world, the Roberts of the world, Chris Bryant when he first came up, et cetera, et cetera. These guys that hit the ground running immediately, and they look like they've been a 5-year veteran from the day they hit the majors. That's not everybody's trajectory, though. In fact, a lot of guys don't have that trajectory. So when they don't hit immediately, slough them off. Garbage. Now, I'm not saying that you should have drafted Dom Smith every year when there was no playing time guaranteed and he wasn't performing well. It's not about that. It's about not forgetting them, though. I see in the fantasy community how often a prospect who was super lauded coming up, like all the hype was in on him, and he doesn't do well for like 200 plate appearances, and he's just forgotten. Like he's a 500th overall pick type of deal. And it's hilarious because I'm not the biggest prospect guy out there. I try to get better every year, and I focus on it and try to know more and more players. But I've known about Dom Smith, and I kind of keep these guys in the back of my head like, don't give up on him. And then when they do start doing something, I try to remember, oh, don't forget they had pedigree. And I know some of my fantasy brethren, they don't care about that. They're like, oh, the pedigree doesn't matter. I'm like, but it does. It does matter. When somebody was, drafted high overall, the prospect folks all thought he was going to become something, and it took him a little bit longer. That's Dom Smith. Anyway, long drawn out story, absolute hold for gold, and I really hope he gets there. Reese Hoskins, Kyle, I don't know if you're watching this, but you got saved. I had to message your friend Kyle and break the bad news. I had to brace him for some potential bad news because I had Reese Hoskins going to gold, and I thought he was going to lose his silver god. If you didn't watch his tournament video from a couple weeks back, where, he just obliterated the world with Reese Hoskins. Now, if you've ever watched your friend Kyle play, he obliterates the world with everybody. But this particular run that he had, Reese Hoskins was off the charts. He hit so many homers, so many of them were clutch. And in fact, seeing him do that well with him, not that I'm 1% as good as he is, but it made me start drafting Hoskins more just to be like, well, maybe if Kyle can have like a 4,000 OPS with somebody, then maybe I can have like a 900 or better, kind of scale it down to my level. And it's true, I could, because I've been hitting well with him. And so I was worried that he was going to go gold. We live another week, but another big week out of Hoskins, and he's going to go gold. So he's an absolute hold for gold. Brandon Belt is killing it. And by the way, he and a couple of other guys are really showing that Oracle Park, previously AT&T, previously Pac Bell, previously whatever the fuck phone company or technology company it was named after, San Francisco's home park is playing a lot more hitter friendly this year, particularly for lefties, and Belt is taking full advantage. We've been wanting him to get into a different park for ages now. For his whole career, it's like, what if he was in New York? Everyone always says New York too, but and I understand why. The short porch and right out there would be so sweet for somebody like Belt. And, it's not playing like New York, but it's playing better, and he's taking full advantage. I think he's a fringe gold candidate. I would put him at a 20 to 25% investment for gold because he still needs 4 points, but look at these numbers, y'all. He's killing it. He is a little bit behind. I think he missed some time. He only has 87 plate appearances, so he missed some time. I think we have a special visitor here. Let's see what I can pull out from here. Oh, what have I got here? Oh, hey. What up? What are you doing? Did you want to talk about the upgrade? Who was your favorite? Luke Boyd? Yeah. Okay, guys. Hello. My name is Charlotte, and I'm here to tell you that Luke Boyd's going to go up to a 99. He's my favorite player, and my dad wouldn't get me a shirt for Luke Boyd, so tell him to get me a shirt for Luke Boyd. Charlotte out. Okay, wow. Great analysis there by Charlotte. She has Luke Voigt going to a 99. I don't know if that's going to happen, y'all. And I'll tell you what, if RotoWear made dog shirts, I would buy one. Do you hear that, RotoWear? Make a Luke Voigt dog shirt, you cowards, and I'll buy it. Is calling somebody a coward a good way to get them to do something? Anyway, Miggy gets a little boost. He's been playing pretty well lately. I like to see it. Obviously, he's way past his prime. But, hey, the Tigers are at 500, which makes no sense at all. But, hey, it's cool. The Jerk Store called, and he got an upgrade. So, well done for him. Rowdy Tellez gets a little boost. I actually did invest in him just because I thought he would get a nice little jump. 4 points works. Again, for affinity, when you're investing in somebody for 25 stubs a piece, it's worth it. It's worth it for the exchange. So I didn't invest a ton. I'm not going to pretend that he was like some super sneaky, get 300 shares of him. But it seemed obvious that he would get some love. So I got a little bit for the fourth stage program. Marmolejo's, same thing. His overall numbers aren't that good, but he is hitting homers against righties, so he needed some love. Mountcastle. I think this is just the beginning for him. If he continues to hit like this, I had him going up to a 71, so I was a little bit too high on it. But hey, that's fine. He gets up to 69, which is very nice. This dude has hit really well off rip for the Orioles. If he keeps it going, I think he can get to silver. That's it, though. There's no gold potential. He won't have nearly enough time to get there, but I do think he could get to silver. Ow, Charlotte's stepping on my feet with her toothpick legs and her very sharp nails. How can I help you? Are you back for more? I think she has more to say, guys. Let's see. Do you have more analysis, or did you just want to hang? By the way, I forgot to check new players. Oh, she wanted to talk about Webster Rivas. What did you want to say about him? Hello, my name is Charlotte. I'm back, and I think Webster Rivas is a very good player, and thank you. Goodbye. Wow. Piercing analysis from Charlotte on Webster Rivas. I didn't even know who he was, so she knows more about baseball than I do. Yeah, I forgot to look at the new players, by the way. Nothing crazy here. Any new starters? George Kirby, one of the big prospects. Oh, here's an interesting one. Johan Oviedo. So, Eric in our chat, who's a big Cardinals fan, was talking about him yesterday, saying keep a close eye on him, that he's got some interesting stuff. So I did a little extra deep dive this morning for the podcast. And if you listen to my podcast, !podcast in the Twitch chat, Sleeper in the Bus, we talked a little bit about him and his prospect status and how he might be working into something decent. Now, I don't see like star potential, but I do see some upside here from Oviedo, and he's pitched pretty well, so he gets his card into the game. And then none of these guys are particularly... Okay, so those are just the new guys catching up on the positions. Now we go to second base. Char, do you want to say anything on Wilbus Santiago? This is a great name. David Fletcher is on full-scale diamond watch, y'all, because that's 2020 for you. There is no way out of like, I could have done 500 bold predictions this year for MLB, and I never would have come to David Fletcher is a diamond candidate in MLB The Show. No way. No freaking way. I love it though. I'm absolutely here for it. It's awesome. He's a defensive god. That contact is off the charts. I'm telling you guys, like a 2 home run week, and he gets there, especially if it's one against the lefty and one against the righty. But just a little bit of power for an extended period, 7 to 10 days, and he gets there. And that's crazy. Our boy Brandon Lyle does get a little bit of a neutral move there. You see the drop down in contact against righties, but he does get his plate skills boosted with the vision and discipline both going up. He is on diamond watch, but it is more fringe. I would keep him in the 25% range for your diamond investments. Do not go too crazy with him. We are starting to see the strikeout rate creep back up a little bit. Not to an untenable level. Last year he struck out like over 30% of the time. This year it's definitely been better, but he is having a little bit more swing and miss. That's why his contact versus righty went down. His vision did still have to go up because, again, it was so bad last year that they had to mark him up a little bit. But don't go too crazy. I do love him. He's a great player, but I don't know if we're going to see diamond this year without another huge run to finish the season. Altuve, I swear he gets downgraded a little bit every week. He's just having a monstrously bad season. Scope on that gold watch without a doubt, and the main reason that he is because of that batting average. We know he can hit for power. He's been hitting for power his whole career, but the 320 average is what really keeps Scope in the hold for gold range. Kike got off to that brilliant start, got that tops now, and hasn't done a damn thing since. B-Mill. I gotta be honest, because Luke Voigt got the Diamond Live Series, and that kind of satiated me there, I would say my biggest tops now disappointment is Brad Miller. But they had a theme. It was a walk-off type of theme. I think everyone but Davey Garcia, who of course is a pitcher, I think that all the other guys were walk-off moments. So I get it. They went for a theme. It's cool. But I really wanted Brad. Dude, we made a list last night. There were 6 Tops Now candidates that we knew that Tops Now had made cards for, that we could have gotten, that were some of our favorites in the community, and my favorites specifically. Luke Voigt, Brad Miller, Franmil Reyes, Aaron Savale, Teoscar Hernandez, and Zach Gallen. And we went a hot 0 for 6. It'd be like that sometimes. That's all right, though. Some of these guys will get Player of the Month cards, and they'll get their diamond. I think Brad Miller could. He got one last year with Philly, and it was awesome. By the way, they hinted that there's going to be new card art for Player of the Month. I'm really eager to see that. The art team for MLB The Show, they are undefeated. They are truly undefeated. Everything they do, even the stuff that doesn't go to the top of the scale, like the prospect card art, I think is fine. It's not my favorite, but even that, even like their non-home runs are still like solid doubles in the gap, but they regularly hit freaking grand slams. Like the Future Stars card art, holy shit. The Academy Awards one, unbelievable. Even the Prime, the Prime is simple too. It's an actual Topps card, but with the little border and the green notch at the bottom. That's a simple design, and yet it's hot. I love it. They do a great job. So hopefully Brad Miller gets a Player of the Month card along with Luke Voigt. Nick Madrigal came back from that shoulder injury. I was nervous that he might not return this year, but he has, and he's gotten right back to what he does best, which is not striking out and getting a ton of base hits, and that's it. You can see that his slugging matches his average, which means he's only hitting singles. But hey, if you're hitting 389, the team will take that. Peraza goes down, who cares? Rougned Odor goes down, who cares? Although I will say his power goes up against righties. That makes him even more of a BR candidate. I know a lot of people like to use him for BR. Manny Machado gets massive love. And this tells me that his 3-homer doubleheader from last Thursday was not included in his diamond upgrade last week. That's what this tells me, is that because they cut it off on Wednesday. That's the lock. But I've always wondered if it's like a soft lock or a hey, it's been shipped off somewhere and we can't do anything to it. I don't know. So I've always wondered if they could get something under the gun, possibly. But this tells me that no, it's a pretty hard lock because he even played day games. So you would even think that maybe something in the afternoon they could get in there and adjust it. But he goes to 89. He's been having a brilliant season. And I'll tell you what, I was starting to get nervous about Machado. If you looked at his non-Camden numbers since he was traded to the Dodgers, it was starting to show that maybe he was, I don't want to say a product of that park to the degree that he was bad in San Diego and LA, but just that he was a lot more average of a hitter, which we talked about this last night on stream. Average isn't inherently bad, but for somebody who has a superstar pedigree, you expect more, and he's starting to show that this year, so good on him. Chapman gets a little bit of love. That power versus righty is probably worth the 3 downgrades that he gets, though. Loses a little bit against lefties, and then the vision and discipline do go down. That is tough, but plus 15 against righties is pretty nice. Turner, I think, is off kind of the diamond kick. I'd probably fully divest. I got out during the NL West flurry of activity during the Tatis 2-day face of the franchise when all the NL West cards were through the roof. I was able to sell my Turners at damn near diamond price anyway, so I took my profit and ran. He's still close enough where a hot 3 weeks to finish the season might get him there, but I'm not investing. I'm not even going to reinvest. I'm out on Justin Turner. I'm just going to root from him from afar and kind of go from there. I'm out on BA too. I haven't sold my shares yet, but it's only -1, so it's not so crazy for him to turn it around and go gold. but he really needs to turn it around and soon. The time's running out. So I think I have like 20 shares. I may keep 7 or 8 of them just in case, but I'm gonna start selling the rest. Evan Longoria has been killing it. Quality season out of him, you know, crusty veteran who nobody really gives a lot of attention to. Nice little 831 OPS, playing pretty well. Devers, man, he has not backed up his big breakout season. It's been a disappointment to see. Down to a 771 OPS. Reynado finally goes to silver. I've been looking for this. He's killing righties. His power is strong once again. Great work out of Reynado. Riley gets a little love. His work against righties has been really nice lately. So he deserves some love. Gets his plate skills up a little bit too. There might be some silver upside here. I wouldn't go crazy investing, but you know, if the price is right, I don't know what his price is at right now. If he's tracking very cheaply for a bronze, then maybe get a few as a save for silver. As Drupal gets a very interesting upgrade. Heavy versus lefties, big hits versus righties though. So I don't know. Like, I know he's always had a good swing that people like to use in VR, but is his swing good enough to tolerate 37-48? Maybe. I mean, Byron Buxton had like low 40s across the board last year on his live series card, and I had an 1100 OPS with him in like 300 plate appearances. So sometimes the swing's all you need, and you just rake with somebody. So maybe Asdrubal will continue to hit well for those who love him. Kendall Wario finally gets a nice big upgrade here. 3 points. Gets some love across the board with that contact and power. His discipline does go down. Not the end of the world, though. He doesn't take a lot of walks. That's not going to fundamentally change how he plays, though, if you do use him in BR. He is a switch hitter. I think he's a nice little bench bat. Particularly bring him in against a lefty late in the game. Get an opportunity to get a base hit off the bench. Michael Chavis has been brutal this year and gets a downgrade to cover it. Jason Vosler and David Thompson are new cards. Moving over to shortstop, we have a bunch of new cards. This is the only one of note. Jose Garcia. He is a very interesting prospect for Cincinnati. As you can see, he's off to a very bad start, but I want to see if he's just completely overmatched or if he can turn it around a little bit, because he is a legit prospect, but they kind of rushed him to the majors because there is no minor leagues this year. So we'll see if he can hold his own or if he's just too soon. Trey Turner has been on fire. We knew he was going to get a little bit more love after just turning diamond recently. Very much on the diamond track here is Corey Seeger. The tough part is, though, y'all, is he's not doing well against lefties. As you can see, he got a downgrade against lefties this week. That's nerve-wracking, because I don't know if he can get to diamond without doing something against lefties, unless he's just so obscene against righties that it doesn't matter. Bogarts gets neutral because his plate skills go down, and they had to go down. Didi gets the gold. There you go. Hopefully you watched the video yesterday when I was doing the upgrades and I was going through these golds, and all the ones I had on the sheet, the prices were already too high, and I was like, I gotta give them something that they can invest in if they're watching this YouTube video. So we talked about Didi. He does get the boost. Hopefully you jumped in on that. Our boy Rake, let's go. Very much on the gold track. I almost said diamond track. Not quite. Not quite diamond this year. But he is very much on the hold for gold. He's been great. If he hits a couple homers against lefties, watch out. Although he is a lefty, so that would take some lefty on lefty crime. But I think he can. There is enough here that just kind of doing well against righties might get him to gold. I could also see. You know what? I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna make a note here. If you'll indulge me, I need to make a note to send them, because they need to upgrade his speed, y'all. They need to upgrade his speed. He is remarkably fast, and that is too low, and that alone might get him to gold. So either way, Cronenworth is a hold for gold, but I think the speed could get him there as soon as next week if they are open to upgrading it, because 58 is too low. Plain and simple, it's too low. Polanco goes neutral here with an interesting little maneuver. I'm still going to use him in BR. I love this card. I've always loved Jorge Polanco. Same with Mondesi. You know, this goes back to my thing. Who was I talking about? Oh, Asdrubal Cabrera. Listen, Mondesi's always had shitty ratings, and he kills it. So maybe I was overblowing it with regards to Asdrubal. Because if you do well with a card, you do well with the card. And sometimes the ratings just don't matter, particularly on All-Star. If you've got that clean swing that you have confidence in, it doesn't matter. And this will be a good test because those are some pretty big hits to his contact. But Mondesi's been killing it for a couple years with his live series, and I'm going to continue to draft him. Crawford goes neutral because he gets a little bit of power, a little bit of love against righties, but loses some of it against lefties and his vision. And then JP Crawford gets a little nooch as well. He's been up and down. He'll have a run for a couple days, and then he'll go cold for 6 to 10 days, and it's really frustrating. Getting into left field, we see Juan Soto go to 90. I mentioned him earlier. If you invested in him at 5,000, hoping to get that spike when he goes 90 plus, it's already there. You can take a profit right now. I'm going to hold. I'm going to try to wait to see if he goes 5 figures. I think he'll get over 10K, and then I'll start to sell there and take my profit. Either way, there's going to be some profit to be had. It's just a matter of how much you want. We didn't see that big spike the way we did with Mookie Betts, which is a bummer, but hey, it happens. Marcelo Zuna is on the diamond track, but I will say, y'all, he basically needs to maintain this over 1,000 OPS to get it because his defense is kind of capped. I don't know if his arm strength has improved at all. There is a way we could check. There is some StatCast stuff out there that we could look. If that has improved, then that would certainly help him. But otherwise, it needs to come via his bat. Teoscar was one of the more obvious golds of the week, and he does get it. I think he's still a BR god as an 81. Remember, he's coming from bronze, and he was so stupid good as a bronze. Goes into silver, maintains his excellence, and now goes to gold. What a season for Teoscar. I know y'all are disappointed about Jesse Winker not going. I am too. I'm invested in him. Patience, okay? Patience. Because I haven't checked it yet, but I bet the price is tanking and we can get back in, okay? So he only got 2 points here, but he's going to continue to hit. I have every confidence in him that he's going to stay hot this year. As you can see, he got big upgrades across the board except for his vision. But everything in his core 4 stats, the contact and the power versus righty and lefty, got a boost, and he's a beast. And the fact that he's hitting lefties this year is why I'm still very confident that he's going to go gold. So just stay patient and hold for gold. Peralta had to come down. I'll tell you what, though, this is just going to make him more of a BR god because David Peralta has always been awesome. And he's been a little bit difficult to draft as a gold because he's always in that 80-81 range, and you're like, there's these better rated cards, but if you just trust your numbers, then you should have been taking him. Of course, that arm kind of sucks. I didn't realize his arm was that bad. At any rate, as a silver, I'm definitely down to take him, maybe even as just a bench bat, but even as a starter, hide him in left, try to get away with the arm because the offense is so good. Shouts to Bangle. I know he's a big David Peralta guy. He's always hyping up the freight train. Schwarber. Now this one's a little interesting to me. I have been looking at Schwarber as somebody who could get upgraded. I didn't have him on this week's upgrade, but I think last week I did. Did I not? Maybe I didn't. Anyway, I'm not gonna look too deeply here. But I thought I had him on one of the 2 recent lists. The problem is his batting average sucks so bad that he might not be hitting for enough power to overcome that and go gold. So if you have him, you can stay invested, but I would not add more shares right now. I would just sit tight with what I have. I would not add on Kyle Schwarber. Brett Gardner, whatever. Kyle Tucker goes silver. Let's go. And I do think he's a fringe hold for gold here. The reason I like him especially is because he's actually doing a lot of his damage against lefties, and he is a lefty. He's been great against righties in the past, but he hasn't quite done a full-scale work against them this year, as you can see by his 58-52. If he has a couple good weeks against righties to finish the season, I think he can go gold. So I'm investing in Kyle Tucker. I'm putting some shares off to the side. I think there's a hold for gold aspect here. Oh, by the way, any new left fielders? Emilio Bonifacio and Mitch Longo. Who the hell is Mitch Longo? Don't know. Tyler O'Neill gets a neutral move. His batting average is just too shitty to overcome anything else, so he's a 72, and he's going to stay there. We knew that he was going to get a big upgrade. When you hit 3 homers in a game, you got to get some love, especially when they're doing week-to-week upgrades. Congrats to Alex Dickerson. He's not a bad hitter, though. Like this, obviously, any 3-homer game is fluky by nature just because you don't usually hit 3 homers in a game. But it's not fluky in that he's some loser hitter. Like against righties, he's a quality hitter. He's been batting second against right-handers for the Giants. I think he's really interesting. I think there's a save for silver aspect here, but that's it. There's no real gold upside. Tauchman goes down, but actually kind of balances out his card a little bit more. I don't know. This is probably better for BR. If you use him and you put him on your bench, this is better because he had that 72 contact against lefties, but that's lefty-lefty. This makes him better against righties. Well, with the contact, not so much with the power. He's a bench bat. Doesn't matter. I don't want to get too deep into it. Ben Gamel gets 1 point boost. Perfect. 69. Domingo Santana got DFA'd and merged. Both deserved. Shin-Soo Choo, my man, struggling. If you look under the hood, his core stats his core skills are still there. The results just haven't been coming along for him. If this were a 6-month season, I could totally see him turning it around, but I do think the clock might just run out on him this year as far as getting back to the Shin-Soo Choo that we're used to. By the way, I'd love to see the gold Cincinnati Shin-Soo Choo come back. Heavy platoon. It was only good against righties, but I loved that card. Starling Marte gets diamond, and I love it. We had him on a diamond watch list for the past couple weeks, but I didn't quite have him getting there this week. In fact, I was just watching him. I didn't even have him for any sort of upgrade. But when I moved him up to an 84, I was like, make sure you're holding your shares. Keep an eye on him. If he hits for some power, we'll get there. It wasn't even the power that did it, though. It was the vision and the contact versus lefties that got him there. He hit that big homer his first game with the Marlins. I love that the Marlins were aggressive. They went out there and got him. Small Bear, congrats on your Royce Lewis. But Starling Marte, diamond, deserved, love it. Ketel Marte, his former teammate, gets a little bit of a wholesale upgrade there, or update, I should say, with a couple things going up, but a bunch of stuff going down, so he loses 1 point. Luis Robert, he and Teoscar were probably the two most obvious golds. He does, in fact, get there, goes to an 81. This one, I did not see coming at all. And I got to be honest, guys, because when you have a 225, 330, 382 line, you don't hit my radar. And that's just, sometimes I'm just going to miss ones like that because being that this is a hobby, and I love doing it. Small Bear with the Bryce Harper right after the Royce Lewis. I love doing it, don't get me wrong. But it's time consuming. And it's fun putting in the time and investigating the stats, and it helps me with fantasy and all that. But I can't go into everybody's splits every week. And the reason he got this was because his discipline is up and he's been doing all right against righties, and that's why he got +4s. But when I see 225, 330, 382, I don't even think to look at him. So that's why I missed. If you're wondering why he wasn't even on my radar, he just wasn't doing well overall. And so if you were invested in him, good on you, but I never saw this one coming. I did see this one coming, though. We've been on that hold for gold on Hap for a whole minute, so hopefully you got invested with us a long time ago, because this was one that I liked at the very beginning of the season. Yo, Victor Reyes gets another big boost. He just went to silver very recently, gets a 3-point boost up to a 78. There's some fringe gold opportunity here. It would come via the power, though. I think he would need to have a little bit more punch, either continue to hit power against righties or maybe add some against lefties there to move the needle. There is some gold potential, though. I'd put him at like a 20-25%. I would not go crazy with him. I like Victor Reyes. He's fun to watch as a Tigers fan. His skills are a little bit volatile, though. Neutral move for AJ Pollock. He stays at a 78. Downgrade for Aaron Hicks. He's a BR god, though, by the way. Do not judge him by his ratings as far as hitting. He is one of those guys that outplays his ratings all the time, and you get that premium arm in center or whatever fielding position you want to put him in the outfield. But I love Aaron Hicks for BR. Oh, by the way, any new center fielders? Michael Ciani, don't know who he is. And then Brian Goodwin gets downgraded. He moves to a new team and gets murked right off the bat. He's striking out way too much, so he deserved it. Whatever. As a bronze, I think he's kind of an interesting bench bat for BR, though. Big deal. And then finally, right fielders. We got Cody Bellinger getting a big update here, but most of it was downgrades, except for the power against righties and the vision. So he does stay neutral at 88. This one was a big update. And you know what? Credit to them, they waited as long as they could. Because, and they should, by the way, with diamonds, with established diamonds. You know, Blackman, I know he went to diamond and then came all the way back. Even Pete Alonso, he was diamond to start the year and he came out. But guys who are established, I mean, this is an MVP winner, a bona fide superstar. They try to wait as long as they can, but they have to be reasonable about it too. And if that player is just not turning it around and making the grade, they have to come down, even though you don't really want to downgrade the superstars. But he deserved it. He had to get downgraded. I think you'll stop seeing Christian Yelich as like a bench bat in seasons, because with his inside edge, he was so good that a lot of people were putting him on their bench to use him as a pinch hitter in ranked seasons. I think you'll stop seeing that now as an 85, though. Jason Hayward was another one that was a very well thought of gold potential, along with teammate Ian Happ, and he does get it as well, despite the hefty hit against lefties. But he was so good against righties, and the discipline goes up. This is looking like early career Jason Hayward, and I love it. I've always rooted for him. He's a good guy, seems like a real thoughtful dude, and just a great defender. I'm a sucker for great defense, so I love that he's back on track and playing as a gold. Michael Conforto continues to rake. I got to be honest, I thought he might get closer to 82, 83. He only gets the 1 point boost. His offense has been off the charts, though. I don't know if Diamond is there, though. I don't know. I don't want to say that it's not entirely, though, because he is hitting for big average and pop. If he went on a little bit of a home run spree, let's say he hit like 5 more the rest of the way. Like, that's pretty big over the next 3 weeks or so. Then I could see it, but it will take a power surge. If he just kind of continues to be the stud that we've seen, then I think he's going to cap out at like 83, 84. But if he goes off for a little bit more punch, then we could see Conforto go diamond. So monitor him. Don't invest too crazy, if at all, right now. Just keep a close eye on him. And when you start to see maybe he hits like a 2-homer game, then although you got to be careful with that, because when someone hits a 2-homer game, the market goes wild. Like Alex Dickerson's price was at like 700 when he hit that 3-homer game. I had like 4 of them. I was like, okay, quick sell, or sell now. Blackman goes down again. You can see his season stats are still pretty good, but compared to where he came from at the start of the season, he's actually been quite brutal for a while now. Will Myers gets upgraded to a 79. I thought he had a chance to get to the gold level. And obviously, when you go to 79, that means you absolutely had a chance. I did have him going gold, but I'm fine to have him here and miss by just 1 point. He did get a Tops Now diamond, and if he continues, well, actually, no, he went on the IL, so that's really going to hurt any gold investments that you had for Will Myers. I would just hold at this point, unless you desperately need the stubs. Just see if he's going to come back, because I think it was COVID related, in that he didn't have, not that he had COVID, but that he was exposed to somebody. So I think what I saw was this is just kind of like a short quarantine that might avoid a full 10-day stint. So don't sell your Will Myers shares yet. Just sit tight, because if he comes back in a couple days and gets back to doing what he's doing, he'll be gold in no time. Hunter Renfroe goes down, and I mean, he's still a BR god because of his defense and his straight up power, but holy shit, his season has been horrible. Now this one, whoop, I meant to just put it on. I have this mouse pad here, but the one part of it caught my keyboard, so it sounded like I slammed it down on the table. I did not. It barely hit the keyboard. But this one, I have a little bit of beef with. I think our boy was done dirty. First off, you don't even give him a Tops Now. Sorry, I'm like using the scraps on my chapstick here like a freaking clown. You don't even give him a Tops Now. And I asked nicely. I said, pretty please. So you don't even get a Tops Now. And listen, I was concerned about the performance against lefties. And that was a concern that I have voiced in different in different avenues. But he's hitting 286 against them, so it's not that bad. I guess he had to go down a little bit because he used to hit well over 300. My beef is the fact that his 94 power against righties didn't go up at all, despite the fact that he has a near 300 ISO, and all 8 of his homers are against righties. You telling me that's not over 100 for power versus righty? Come on. because everything has to come from the bat for him to get to gold. And now I'm very concerned that he's not going to get to gold this year because he still needs 4 points. And I was hoping that he would get 2 or 3 of them this week. I had him going up to a 79. So I'm bummed. I've got so many Franmil shares. Worst case, I'll exchange them for stage 4 affinity. But damn, I came away bummed on this one. I'm not saying that they were completely off base, particularly with the verse lefty stuff. My biggest quarrel here, is the power versus righty not getting any love. I think that deserved love. Maybe they think 94 is good enough for somebody with a 297 ISO against righties, but I think a little bit more is in order. That's my opinion, though. I'm also invested in him, so I'm biased. Like, you have to admit your biases sometimes, too. When you get mad about a guy not getting upgraded that you were really hot on, we can't deny that we have a linked bias there, and so I'll acknowledge that. But I do still think he needs... I'm holding, though. I'm holding. And then Nick Markakis goes up, +1. He's been playing really well since coming back. He opted back in, just as Isan Diaz did for the Marlins. We'll see when he comes back and starts icing these fools. And Gregory Polanco's had one of the weirdest seasons I've seen in a while. Now, it's a tiny, short season, obviously. I'd really be eager to see how it plays over the 6 months. This dude has one of the best hard hit rates in the game. But as you can see, he never makes contact, except for every once in a while. And then he hits it 120 miles an hour. So it's like rocket or completely misses it. Nothing in between. Very bizarre season for Gregory Polanco. As you can see, he was duly dropped quite heavily across the board, but it was in fact deserved. Any new right fielders are Joey Rickard. Speaking of Bengal, he looks like Joey Rickard. Anyway, that's going to do it. That's roster update number 6. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you learned some stuff about some guys to invest in for next week. We only have a few more updates left, y'all. We got to get those investments in so we have our stubs built up for the fall and winter content, because you know MLB is going to keep that heat coming. By the way, speaking of that, Headliner 40 will be coming out, or excuse me, 50 will be coming out soon. That will be the final one. They have confirmed that. Player of the Month is coming out next week. That should be a lot of fun. Get to work on your inning 8 program. Should be a lot of fun to do that too. I don't know exactly who I'm choosing. I'm thinking Cobb, though. I'm thinking Cobb as a Tigers fan, and then maybe I'll buy Kershaw. Or vice versa. We'll see. I mean, it's the thing of it is the prices are never really that different. So just take whoever you want, and you're going to have to pay virtually the same price for the others. But thank you so much for watching. Anytime that we do, that there's a roster update, you can come out to twitch.tv/Spore. I go live as soon as the update comes out, and we do this full review. I've been doing 12-hour streams on the day of content drops. So, hey, if you're seeing this video on Thursday, and it's before 2 a.m. Central, come on out, because we're still going to be streaming. Thank you so much for watching. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.